Rubeshwaran, can you explain? Just say the titles what we have discussed in the last class regarding HPLC.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can say. Kindly take class notes, okay? Don't depend only on PPT. Rubeshwaran, your voice is not audible.
Ma'am,
Yeah, say about the HPLC what we have discussed in the last class. What are the
three
parts
types
of HPLC we have
quantification,
discussed?
three types quantification, isolation, and purification. Ma'am.
HPLC, ma? The direct class we have discussed, right?
Sir.
What are the parts of HPLC we have discussed? Go through and tell again. Anybody else? Akarshna. Akarshna, are you there? Yeah, give answers on the same question.
Solvent delivery system, pumping system.
What are the subtitles we have discussed in that?
In pumping system, pneumatic pump, displacement pump, reciprocating pump.
Okay. In solvent delivery system? Say, pa.
Inlet filters. Degassers. Solvent.
Solvent reservoirs. Then solvents. Regarding columns, what are the types of columns we have discussed? Mohammed Rafiq. Say about columns.
Scavenger column, God column, analytical column.
Okay, good. Thank you, pa. Rafiq, Akarshna.
Thank you, ma'am.
Who I asked? Rubeshwaran. Now let's move on to the remaining part of HPLC and ion exchange chromatography. Next title is ion exchange chromatography. Only detector is left in HPLC that we will cover along with ion exchange chromatography. Okay. So now let's move on to the next topic of chromatography, that is ion exchange chromatography. It may be called as IEC or IC. What is IEC? Ion exchange chromatography. So the name itself here indicates ions are going to be exchanged inside the column for separation. So we can separate ions. What are the two types of ions?
Anion,
What are the ions molecule will exist?
Cation, anion.
Cation and anion. So those type of ions in the form of drug molecule, if it exists, then it can be separated by using ion exchange chromatography. So based on the types of ions, it is divided into two categories: cation exchange chromatography and anion exchange chromatography. So principles, applications behind this we are going to discuss now. First, let's see about history of ion exchange chromatography. Who developed and discovered the ion exchange chromatographic method? It was developed in the year 1956 by Peterson and Sauber. He is one of the scientists involved in this ion exchange chromatographic development, whose picture is shown here. 1956, the method was reported by Peterson and Sauber. The modern ion exchange chromatography was introduced by three scientists called Small, Stevens and Bowman in 1975. 1975, the complete modernized ion exchange chromatography was developed and introduced. This is about the history. Next, we'll see what is actually ion exchange chromatography is. ISA is nothing but it is used for separation of ions and polar molecules.
Excuse me, ma'am.
What?
Ma'am,
Can you see the
share the
slides?
screen? No, ma'am.
Screen. Full screen வெச்சோ தெரியல இல்லையா? Now can you see the change of
Yes,
slides?
Yes, ma'am.
This is about history of ion exchange chromatography. In order to separate proteins, an ion exchange chromatographic method was reported by Peterson and Sauber in 1956, and modern method was introduced by Small, Stevens and Bowman in 1975. Now can you see the third slide, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what is ion exchange chromatography? It is used to separate ions and polar molecules based on their affinity to the ion exchanger. So what type of molecules can be separated by ion exchange chromatography? Polar molecules are ions. If the molecule is exist as ion itself, it can be separated. Or polar molecules. What does mean by polar molecules? What is the difference between polar and non-polar? This also we have discussed. Why polar molecules can be separated in ion exchange chromatography? Ions means positive and negative ions can be separated. Then how polar molecules will be separated by ion exchange chromatography? Why we can choose this type of molecule? What is polar molecule?
Water is considered as polar.
Solar.
Now, what nature it will be having? Polarity represents what? The molecule may exist in ionic form, or it can be easily ionizable in solutions. Okay, polarity means it will be having dipole moment. Easily ionizable it is. Okay, so that it can exist either as cation or it exists as anion. The best example for polar molecule is protein. Okay, so ions and proteins as polar molecules can be separated by using ion exchange chromatography. And what type of molecules, charged molecules it is applicable means proteins, peptides, enzymes, nucleotides, DNA, antibiotics, vitamins and other polar molecules, even from natural source or from synthetic source. Whichever source the molecules, polar molecules are derived, then that can be separated from its mixture by ion exchange chromatography. Okay. And when ion exchange chromatography will be, what condition it will be separated means based on its isoelectric point of a protein. If you take protein, since this chromatography was developed based on protein separation only. Even in the history itself, it is shown proteins were separated in 1956 itself by Peterson and Sauber. So it will be applicable for protein separation. So proteins will be having isoelectric point. Isoelectric point means at this point the molecule will exist with zero charge, or we can say it is net charge is zero. It is like neutral form, it will be existing. It will not be carrying negative charge or positive charge. That is isoelectric point. We have to use the pH value. It is called Pi. pH you will be writing, no, likewise it is called Pi. Pi is nothing but isoelectric point of a protein. We have to select the pH for separation of this particular protein based on this isoelectric point. How we have to choose the pH means 1 unit away from this isoelectric point. Either you can take more pH value than Pi value, or less pH value of 1 unit away, plus or minus values we can choose for separation, so that that particular protein will get separated. If it is less, then it will be acidic pH. From Pi value, if it is high, then it will be basic pH. So 1 unit away from this isoelectric point must be selected as pH through buffers for separation of either cation or anion from a protein. If pH is low, it will exist as acid. Acid means it will carry positive charge. If we take more than isoelectric point, it will be considered as basic, where it will exist as negative ion. So that through anion and cation exchange chromatography, proteins can be separated. So which is the most important to consider for separation of protein? Isoelectric point. This is called as Pi value. Pi. pKa we have discussed now. I told in the physical parameter pKa must be chosen. What is pKa? Acid dissociation constant. Based on it only, other molecules usually in HPLC are separated. In ion exchange chromatography, what we need to consider for protein? Isoelectric point. What is isoelectric point? Pi value. Okay. So Pi value is nothing but here the protein will exist in neutral form, or the charge, net charge will be zero. So 1 unit away from Pi value must be chosen. Either plus or minus pH ranges must be chosen based on the cation exchange or anion exchange chromatography. So what is IEC? What type of molecules it is used for separation? What type of molecules it is used for separation?
Polar.
Can anyone answer? Ions and polar molecules. Ions and polar molecules. What are the examples of charged molecules? What type of
Protein.
molecules can be separated? Examples?
Protein, peptides,
Peptides, enzymes, nucleotides, DNA, antibiotics, vitamins. These are polar molecules, easily get soluble in water, buffers. And then what point should be considered for protein for the separation?
isoelectric point.
What is isoelectric point?
Net charge should be 0.
Net charge will be 0. That is nothing but Pi, like pH, pKa, will be calling it as Pi. Now let's move on to types of ion exchange chromatography. So based on the ions, negative and positive ions, it is divided into 2 categories: anion exchange chromatography and cation exchange chromatography. Anions are exchanged by using anion exchangers as stationary phase particle. Anion exchangers and cation exchange chromatography will be separating positively charged ions using cation exchangers. Okay, we'll be discussing the charge of stationary phase and mobile phase, everything. Okay, just you have to know types of ion exchange chromatography. Anion means it will be carrying negative charge. Cation means it will be carrying positive charge. So the analyte or solute which you are going to separate by this chromatography, if it is carrying negatively charged ion, your substrate, whatever you are going to separate, if it is carrying negatively charged ion, it is called anion. If it is positively charged, it is called as cation. Then it will be separated by using, anion will be separated by using anion exchanger. Anion exchanger will be carrying positively charged to exchange oppositely charged ion, where cation exchangers will be having cation negatively charged, opposite charge to your cation molecule, so that it will be getting separated. So this is stationary phase particle, stable phase particle. This is opposite to your sample, either anion or cation. So what are the two types? AEC and CEC. AEC is anion exchange chromatography. CEC is cation exchange chromatography. Now let's move on to ion exchange chromatographic parameters. It is similar to other chromatographic technique like selection of stationary phase, mobile phase, likewise. And it is modified form of HPLC. In HPLC, analytical column and mobile phase alone is changed and the instrument is same. Instrumental parts, solvent delivery system, pumping system, injection system, column, detectors, everything is similar to HPLC. Only we are changing the principle or working mechanism of column and mobile phase. That's it. Okay. So you have to write instrumentation under ion exchange chromatography as HPLC only. We have discussed in the classification, just refer classification of HPLC based on the principle, different category of HPLC we have discussed. Absorption chromatography, partition chromatography, ion exchange, size exclusion, and there are different gel filtration, there are different chromatographies we have discussed under principle of separation. So this is one kind of HPLC based on its principle of separation. So what is the principle here? Ion exchange. Cations or anions are exchanged here. So that we are going to discuss. So don't confuse. Instrument used for ion exchange chromatography separation is HPLC. Only we are going to change column and mobile phase, stationary phase and mobile phase. Now we'll see the stationary phase selection. Stationary phase will be having an inert material that is called resins, and this resins will be coated with cation or anion exchanges, buffers. It will be coated with buffers, and the actual principle is partition. Principle of ion exchange chromatography is partition. Since buffer is coated over stationary phase, that acts as liquid, and mobile phase is also liquid. So liquid chromatography it is. Your sample will be getting equilibrium between these two liquids. So the principle behind ion exchange chromatography is partition principle, or you can say partition and ion exchange. Principle of ion exchange chromatography is what? Partition chromatography or ion exchange chromatography. And now selection of stationary phase. Here resins. Resins represents an inert material that will be carrying ions for its exchanging purpose. Here this will be positively charged ions, you can see, right? It is stationary phase particle, and it represents, the blue color represents resin. Okay, and over the resin surface the ions are coated. Okay, so this should not be reacting with your sample. So the resin must be what is the nature? It should be inert. Inert means it should not interact with your sample. Where positively charged ions present over the resin will be reacting with the sample for its separation. What type of resins we can use? They are called as matrix materials. They are nothing but insoluble hydrated polymers. What is the nature of resin? Insoluble hydrated polymers. If it is soluble, it will be interacting with your sample. Okay, and it should be polymer to form a matrix. So that polymers will be having pores. Inside the pores, what happens? Ions will be getting interacted, or it forms hydrogen bonding with the polymer to exist in the surface. Okay, so the matrix material will be nothing but insoluble hydrated polymers. Example of inert resins are cellulose, dextran, agarose, polyacrylamide, acrylate copolymer, polystyrene, divinyl benzene, coated polystyrene divinyl benzene, silica and coated silica. These are different types of polymers used for stationary phase as resins, inert material, or inert support for your buffer. And next about the resins of two types, cation exchanger and anion exchanger, and these resins will be coated with buffer to carry either positive charge or negative charge. According to cation exchanger, means cation exchange chromatography and anion exchange chromatography. Here is the charge of a molecule. If the molecule is cation, we have to use cation exchanger. This is described here itself. If it is molecule is anion, then we have to use anion exchanger, and this will be positive charge. Sample is negative charge and the stationary phase is positive charge. Where cation exchange chromatography, sample is cation and the exchanger will be negatively charged. So stationary phase charge will be negatively charged. Okay. So what is the charge of molecule or analyte in cation exchange chromatography? What is the charge of molecule in cation exchange chromatography? Charge of sample?
Negative.
Negative, ma'am. Negative.
Cation exchange chromatography?
Cationic negative, ma'am.
Cationic negative. You are saying whether about a stationary phase or molecule.
Stationary
I asked
phase.
about
Stationary
molecule,
phase.
analyte.
Analyte positive, ma'am.
Analyte positively charged. Exchanger will be, stationary phase will be negatively charged,
Negative.
oppositely
Negative.
charged. For anion exchange chromatography, what is the sample charge?
Negative
Analyte
charge,
is
ma'am.
negative, ma'am.
charge. Anion. Sample is anion. So exchanger will be positively
Positive.
charged. This part you should be clear, then only it is easy to understand the concept. It is simple. Only you have to remember what charge the stationary phase has. And usually in HPLC, what concept we have discussed, whatever the sample nature, the same nature mobile phase will be, right? So definitely stationary phases of oppositely charged, right? So here if it is cation, stationary phase is anion, oppositely charged. If the molecule is anion, stationary phase is cation, oppositely charged. Okay, where mobile phase will be carrying same charge of your sample. For cation exchange, mobile phase will be positive charge. For anion exchange, mobile phase also will be negatively charged. Same charge of the sample. Understood the difference, no? For stationary phase and mobile phase and sample. This part you should be clear for writing the mechanism of ion exchange chromatography. And the charge of resin. Resin here represents stationary phase. So it is negatively oppositely charged from the molecule charge. And here for anion exchanger, it is positively charged. It is opposite charge of your sample. And running condition is based on PI value. PI value we have to choose for cation exchanger below the PI value. PI value also represents some pH where it the charge of the molecule will be 0. And if you take below this PI value 0.5 or 1.5 pH units or 1 unit away from this pH PI value, or that means below this PI value, then the pH acts as acidic pH, so it can be separated, or the cations can be separated by using this pH, under this pH. Got it? Cations are nothing but acids. So we need to maintain acidic pH for separating these cations. So mobile phase condition will be of acidic pH. Acidic buffers we have to use. Okay. Mobile phase will be carrying then positively charged. Acidic buffer means it represents positively charged ions present in the solution. So that will be separating cations. Running condition here represents mobile phase condition. That is below the pH, below the PI value, 1 unit away from this PI value we have to choose, that is from 0.5 to 1.5 pH units. For example, if the sample is carrying net charge as 7, below 1.5 or 1 pH means around 6 or 5 pH we have to choose, and this pH 5 represents acidic pH and it is opted for cation exchange chromatography. Where for anion exchange chromatography, from the PI value, we have to choose more than PI value, that is 1 unit more from PI value. That represents, if 7 as PI value if you consider, then 8 or 8.5 will be taken as pH for separating anion exchange chromatography, anions in anion exchange chromatography. So the pH will be basic pH here pH will be acidic pH. Since the sample is acidic in nature, here the sample is basic in nature. So the pH should be maintained in basic condition. Got it? So what is the condition of mobile phase for cation exchange chromatography? What is the condition of pH in anion exchange cation exchange chromatography? Acidic pH or basic pH?
Acidic pH, ma'am.
Acidic pH. So we have
Acidic.
to maintain acidic pH by using acidic buffers. Okay. Why it is acidic pH? Why we need to maintain acidic pH?
Less, ma'am.
Since your sample molecule is of acidic in nature, positively charged, right? Positively charged ions you will be calling as acidic, right? H plus.
Ma'am.
H plus will be acidic. So likewise, we need to maintain acidic pH for separating acidic molecule. Where basic molecules will be separated by using basic buffers, basic pH. pH value, here pH value is more from pH value, above. Above the pH value we have to select. Here below the pH value we have to select. pH also represents pH. Some pH the molecule exists in pH. Okay, so below the pH value we have to choose the pH for acidic exchanger or cation exchanger, and above the pH value we have to choose for anion exchanger or basic molecules. Got it? So this is the main mechanism behind the selection of stationary phase and mobile phase based on its molecular charge, cation or anion. So the concept is entirely varying for two chromatography, so that ion exchange chromatography is having two types, cation exchange chromatography and anion exchange chromatography. Seeing the sample nature, we have to choose all the resins, stationary phase and mobile phase. Next we will see types of ion exchange resins. Here we have seen some examples of resins. Here now we will see about types of ion exchange resins. This is important question usually asked in 5 marks. Okay, ion exchange resins in ion exchange chromatography. There are 5 categories of ion exchange resins. One is strong acid cation resin. So we have two types of chromatography, cation exchange chromatography and anion exchange chromatography. For cation exchange chromatography, strong acid cation exchange resins and weak acid cation exchange resins. And for anion exchange chromatography, strong base anion exchange and weak base anion exchange means resins will be available. Okay, cation means acid, so strong acid cation, SAC. We here weak acid cationic exchangers. They are called as ion exchangers or ion exchange resins. Resins will be coated with cationic charge or anionic charge, whichever exchangers will be carrying the particular charge for separating cations or anions. So strong acid cationic exchangers will be carrying what type of charge here? Cation exchangers will be carrying what type of charge? That is, cation exchangers will be carrying negatively charged. Cation exchangers will be carrying negatively charged to separate positive ions, where anion exchanges will be carrying positively charged to separate negative ions. So here the strong acid cationic exchangers will be carrying what type of charge? Negatively charged, since it has to exchange cations, positively charged ions. Where strong base anionic resins will be carrying positive charge to separate anions. Okay. This represents stationary phase only, different types of stationary phase in ion exchange chromatography. Stationary phase is called as ion exchangers or ion exchange resins. Stationary phase in ion exchange chromatography is called as what? Ion exchangers or ion exchange resins. There are two categories based on cationic exchangers and anionic exchangers. In cationic exchangers, it is of strong acid and weak acid. In anionic exchangers, it is of strong base and weak base. And apart from this, heavy metal selective chelating resins also available to selectively separate heavy metals. Okay. Heavy metals will be carrying positively charged. So for selective separation of heavy metals, a separate category of resins are there. Okay, this is miscellaneous category. We'll be using commonly these 4 categories: strong acid, weak acid, strong base and weak base. exchanges. Now let's see the examples of strong cationic exchanger, weak cationic exchangers. So these two will be used for cationic exchange chromatography. Here there are two types: sulfonic acid exchanger, carboxylic acid exchanger. Sulfonic acid will be carrying negatively charged ion. Carboxyl group also, COO minus, right? Carboxyl group also will be carrying negatively charged. So this is easy to separate positively charged ions. For cation exchange chromatography, pH range here is mentioned for this two, and 4 to 13 and 6 to 10 it will function to separate the molecules. These are brand names of different exchanges. And for strong anion and weak anion, for anion exchange chromatography is Q exchanges. Q is nothing but quaternary amine exchanges. This will be carrying positive charge. In quaternary amine, nitrogen will be carrying positive charge. Okay. Let me show you in the next slide the structure of ion exchanges. Now you just see the types. And weak anionic exchanger is DEAE. DEAE is nothing but amines. Diethyl aminoethyl exchanger. D represents diethyl aminoethyl exchanger. This is also amine category. It will include primary, secondary, and tertiary amine will be carrying positively charged to separate anions. Okay. Buffer counter ions here represents mobile phase ions. Okay, mobile phase ions. If it is negative charge, buffer should be positive charge. Since the sample is also positive charge, buffer will be chosen based on the sample charge. Buffer represents what? Mobile phase here. Where ion exchangers which carrying charge are strong cationic exchanger, weak cationic exchanger, strong anionic exchanger, and weak anionic exchanger. Strong anion will be quaternary amine. Weak anion will be DEAE, diethyl aminoethyl exchanger. Where weak cation is carboxyl exchanger, strong cation is S exchanger, SP or sulfonic acid exchanger. These are all the brand names for different exchangers. Here is the structure, chemical structure of ion exchange resins. And this is the matrix what we discussed, that is resin. We have discussed the resins right here. Resins, inert polymers. So the structure of resin is given here. One of the chemical structure of resin, that is polystyrene divinyl benzene. Backbone represents the support which is given for your anionic exchanger, cationic exchangers. So what is the resin here? It is a polymer. Polymer we told, right? What is polymer? What type of polymer it is used? Insoluble hydrated polymer. What type of polymer is used? Insoluble hydrated polymer. It is cross-linking. It is a monomer. It is cross-linked to form polymer, in which it will be carrying the functional group like strong cation. What is strong cation? Sulfonic acid exchanger. Weak cation is carboxylic acid exchanger. Likewise, weak anion is ammonium weak base. Ammonium exchangers, tertiary amine, secondary amine, primary amines. And strong anion is of two types. So one is quaternary ammonium, another one is quaternary ammonium. The same only of two types. One is with ethanol and another one is with methyl group. Quaternary ammonium group and quaternary alcohols also will act as strong anionic exchangers. Okay, so these are all the examples of ion exchange resins. It will be definite question for 5 mark in university. Okay, so kindly read properly. So what are the two types of cationic exchangers? Strong cation. What are the cationic exchangers?
Weak cation.
Strong cation, weak cation.
Strong cation, weak cation.
Strong cation. What is the example for strong cation?
Sulfonic acid.
Sulfonic acid.
Weak cation, carboxylic acid.
Carboxylic.
Strong anion.
Quaternary amine.
Quaternary amine and quaternary alcohol.
Alcohol. Both two types are there. Strong anion. Weak anion.
Primary, tertiary.
Amines.
Primary, secondary, and tertiary amines.
And DEAE is the example for that. DEAE is nothing but diethyl aminoethyl. Ethyl. Diethyl aminoethyl. Here you can see the brand DAE cellulose. Cellulose will be resin. DAE is the exchanger which is attached to the cellulose polymer. It is supported with polymer so that it will be acting with the partition principle. It is coated polystyrene divinyl benzene is coated with this ion exchangers. Ion exchangers will be in liquid form. So it will be coated over the backbone, that is support polymer, so that it acts as liquid, and mobile phase buffers also acting as liquid, buffers also liquid, so that your molecule will be getting separated between these two phases, stationary and mobile phase, so that it will be both the liquids. If stationary phase and mobile phase both are liquid, then it follows the partition principle. Now let's see the actual mechanism happens inside the column. When stationary phase and mobile phase is chosen in either cationic or anionic exchange chromatography, in the first stage, initial stage, your sample is loaded. This blue dots and red dots will be of samples, and this is matrix carrying positive charge. When it will be carrying positive charge for anionic exchanger. Anionic exchanger will be carrying positive charge, right? Anionic exchangers are carrying positive charge. Quaternary amines are carrying positive charge to separate your negatively charged anions. So this might be charged with a negative charge, and the green color represents mobile phase. Okay, green color represents just a minute. Yeah, green color represents mobile phase, and here, sorry, it is yeah, it is also mobile phase, and this yellow dots represents buffer that is already saturated. Counter ions of initial buffer will be first running the column with one phase. Is the buffer which will carry negative charge. Actually, buffer will be carrying negative charge opposite to stationary phase, and this will be coated over the stationary phase. So before passing sample to the column, it will be first filled or saturated with mobile phase. So positive charge represents matrix, and the yellow color represents what? Mobile phase, buffer. So counter ions in the initial buffer. Buffer represents mobile phase, and these two are samples. Now we have to, on the second step, it is the samples are getting adsorbed onto the matrix, where your mobile phase is getting eliminated, or it will be displaced or replaced with sample. Mobile phase ions will be replaced now with sample, and this green color represents your mobile phase continuous eluent, continuous flow of mobile phase will elute the adsorbed samples over the stationary phase. Here you can see different ions in the sample. Blue color and red color represents your ions, sample ions, negatively charged sample ions. Now the mobile phase solvent is flowed on the column, so that the adsorbed sample from the matrix is getting eluted. First, you can see the red color sample is getting eluted from the column, and next blue color sample. Now only mobile phase ions are existing in the matrix, and again it is replaced, regenerated with the initial buffer, that is yellow color buffer. Now your column is ready for separating other types of cations and anions. This is the mechanism. So first stage is initial stage. What happens? Only mobile phase ions, initial buffers, will be saturated at matrix, and then you are loading the sample, and the sample is allowed to react with the matrix, where mobile phase ions will be replaced with the sample ions. So what is the charge of these ions? Negatively charged, since matrix is positively charged. And now again mobile phase solvent is flowed to elute out the adsorbed ions, anions. These two are anions, and it is eluted from the column. Yes, first molecule red color and blue color as the second molecule, and then again regenerated this matrix with the initial buffer. Now the column is ready for adsorption process. Means again the elution process, it is ready. Okay, so you can load other types of anions and you can separate out or elute out from the column. This is the actual mechanism of IEC. It is an example of protein that is separated inside the column. You can see the negatively charged matrix. It is the column. Just imagine this is the column. Inside the column, analytical column, this happens. Negatively charged column for cationic exchange purpose. First, it is saturated with mobile phase ions. So positive ions are mobile phase ions. Now the sample is loaded. This is sample which carries positively charged, and it is replacing your mobile phase counter ions. It is attached to the stationary phase. Now we have to add what? Buffers. Continuous flow of mobile phase takes place, where your sample is getting eluted from the mobile phase out. First, the single positive charge sample is eluted, then double positive charged molecules are eluted likewise. Okay, and triple positively charged molecules will be eluted. So cations of either single positive, double and triple positively charged molecules. In the beginning, a single positive charge will be eluted, so the peak appears here in the chromatogram, and this is for double charged and this is for triple charged. Likewise, you will be getting the chromatogram. Okay, and then column will be regenerated for again the same principle of separation. This is example of cationic exchange chromatography, where we have discussed here general mechanism for anion exchange chromatography. This is example of cation exchange chromatography, and here is the chemical reaction. What happens? What we have discussed, I have shown in the chemical reaction. Cation exchange and anion exchange. Mobile phase will be of an aqueous solution of a suitable salt or mixtures of salt with a small percentage of an organic solvent. Okay, so what type of solvent here? Buffer we have to use, right? Mobile phase is nothing but buffer. Mobile phase acts as solvent, eluent and developing agent here. So an aqueous solution of a suitable salt or mixtures of salt with a small percentage of organic solvent is used. So what type of solvents, organic solvents we can use means EDTA, polyols, glycerol, glucose and saccharose. Then detergents, urea, quinidinium, chloride, lipids, organic solvents, bitter ions, sulfhydride, reagents, ligands, protease inhibitors. So these all can be used as mobile phase solvents along with the salt. What salt is added? Sodium chloride, 1 molar sodium chloride. Mostly sodium chloride will be used for exchange purpose, since sodium ion will be acting active in cation exchange chromatography and chloride ion will be active in anion exchange chromatography. So sodium chloride is the salt which is used in the mobile phase. Proteins are eluted with increasing salt gradient. So what salt is added? Sodium chloride in mobile phase with organic solvent. Here are the different buffers used with the pKa value and working pH of each buffer. Citric acid, lactic acid for acidic buffers, acetic acid, then ethane sulfonic acid, imidodiastic acid. These are example of buffers used from acidic to basic pH. Lysine, these are basic buffers, these are acidic buffers. All used for cation exchange chromatography, acidic buffers for cation exchange chromatography, positively charged ions. This is anion exchange chromatography, negatively charged ion separation. Piperazine, tris buffer, tris propane. These all amines will be useful for anion exchange chromatography. Even anion exchange is also positively charged amines only, quaternary amines. This all. So basic buffers also of amines to isolate or elute anions. These are cationic exchange buffers. Anionic exchange buffers. Anionic exchange buffers are basic buffers. So they will maintain basic pH. Whereas cation exchange buffers are acidic buffers. They will maintain acidic pH. This is about buffers. And here are applications of ion exchange chromatography. Here, with an example, it is given. Nigella sativa plant extract was isolated or analyzed by using ion exchange chromatography. Proteins were separated by using this. Buffer used was 0.05 molar phosphate buffer. Okay. This is the saline. Saline here represents sodium chloride added to the buffer, 6.4. And what is the stationary phase used? DEAE, Cepadex A50. DEAE, what type of exchanger? Anion exchanger, diethyl amino ethyl, will carry positive charge. So protein will exist in negative charged ion in this buffer. Okay, pH 6.4 at pH 6.4. Selected protein from this plant will be existing as anion. So it is separated by using resin DAE exchanger. Okay, and eluent will be of phosphate buffer to maintain the pH containing salt. What is the salt? We will be using sodium chloride. Increasing concentration of sodium chloride is used. Detection is using UV detector at 280 nanometer. So what type of detectors? Here we will discuss the detectors used in HPLC. There are two types of detectors are used. Bulk property detector and solute property detector. There are two categories of detectors in HPLC are used. What are the two properties? Bulk property detector and solute property detector. In bulk property detector, it is based on the bulk property detectors are based on physical property of analyte that is chosen. Examples are refractive index detector and conductivity detector. Okay, refractive index detector and conductivity detector. Where a solute property detector is based on both physical and chemical properties of the analyte. Example, the best example is UV visible detector. So UV visible detector is commonly used in HPLC. The advanced form and sensitive form of UV visible detector is photodiode array detector, that is PDA detector. Okay. So we are advanced form and sensitive form of UV detector in HPLC is PDA detector, that covers both UV visible region from 200 to 800 nanometer. What are the examples for bulk property detector, conductivity detector, and refractive index detector, RI detector? For solute property detectors, UV visible detector. Solute property is based on physical and chemical properties of the drug, where bulk property depends on only physical property of the drug. Here, proteins varying with the molecular mass has been isolated or eluted from this ion exchange chromatography. So that is example of anion exchange chromatography. Here another example also quoted. You can just read and check what type of molecule is separated by using ion exchange chromatography. Sodium hydroxide with barium acetate, flow rate 1 ml per minute, and extraction procedure of the particular plant, and stationary phase here used as two anion exchange columns were used. Two columns were used. One is along with the God column. You know what is God column, where it is placed between injector and analytical column. God column is used. So it will be high performance anion exchange chromatography using Dionex Carbopac PA1. It is the column used, anion exchange column used. And mobile phase used was 1 millimolar barium acetate with sodium hydroxide as sodium hydroxide as basic pH, anionic pH. So with this, ion exchange chromatography gets over. If any doubt, you can ask here. We are not understanding. Okay, so with this we'll complete the class today. Tomorrow last hour we'll revise this once again and get prepared on this. I'll be asking questions, then we'll move on to the next chapter. Okay, is there any doubt?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.